All right, friends, welcome back to the Crisis Report. It is October 26, 2025. Tonight we're going to be talking about, Europe and the Middle East and Argentina and some things going on all around the world because that's what we do here. If you are new to the channel, please hit that like button, do the subscribe thing, darken out the bell, get the notifications. We are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Augusta Precious Metals is a company that takes your IRA and 401k, puts it into gold and silver. They use your retirement account to do that. So it's not just your money, it's like your official retirement account. So want to learn more? Links in the description. We'd love to have you there. All right. Hopefully you joined us on the earlier video on PrepperNow about the wise men of prepping. We talked about the EBT potential crisis and all things coming up. So really good chat over there. And yeah, this one's called Europe is Dying because it is. I'm going to take you through it and let you know. So, all right, let's get started. Hit the like button and all that kind of stuff, and just let the master YouTube do its thing because it's just awesome. Here we go. Santa Fe, New Mexico voted to eliminate fluoride from its water supply, citing ongoing research into potential health effects. So, yeah. French President Emmanuel Macron's wife, Brigitte Macron, discovered that her tax account on France's official government website listed her, there's some problems, listed her in a different way. Authorities in France have already nearly concluded, that the Louvre Museum theft was actually an inside job. We could have saw that one coming. President Trump has announced an immediate 10% increase in tariffs on Canada. Vice President J.D. Vance chose to skip the traditional wall-kissing ritual in Israel and opt instead for a visit to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Trump says the Thai-Cambodia peace deal will be signed upon his arrival in Malaysia. We have an update on that. Kamala Harris says may possibly run again for the White House. So, yeah, go for it, please. Besides rare minerals, China also has a monopoly over ingredients for a majority of medicines, according to Bloomberg. Nearly 700 U.S. medicines depend on ingredients sourced exclusively from China. Beijing manufactures the active pharmaceutical ingredients for everything from cheap antibiotics to life-saving generics. 4 compounds needed to make amoxicillin are all Chinese. Chinese have demanded Trump's complete capitulation. They want a removal of all U.S. tariffs and export controls measures ever imposed in exchange for lifting the ban on rare materials, for Wall Street, according to the Wall Street Journal. German companies have started trading industrial secrets in exchange for Chinese rare materials. To keep rare earth supplies flowing, German companies are giving China a front row seat to their industrial blueprints, diagrams, supply chain layouts, customer lists, even 3-year production forecasts. All this just to get a 6-month license for rare earth supplies. German government reportedly has no clue what's being handed over and no real plan to stop it. Officials literally had to ask German firms what China was collecting, and most didn't even respond. Smaller manufacturers are already shutting down. Big firms are playing along to survive. The data covers sectors such as defense contractors, car part suppliers, and precision tool makers. Porsche reports a 95.9% drop in profits, the company announced. Profit fell to 114 million euros from 2.6 billion euros in the same period of 2024. That is cataclysmic. Dozens of villagers in Gamatapura, southern India, hurled cow dung at each other for the Gorahaba festival, local ritual marking the end of Diwali. Devotees believe that their deity, Birshwara Swami, was born in cow excrement, which many Hindus consider sacred and purifying. Timothy Mellon was reportedly the anonymous donor who gave $130 million to fund the troops and avoid the government shutdown for our troops and their pay. AFD chief Alice Weidel calls on citizens to raise lots of German flags after the State Security Service is investing the raising of flags in a small German town. Trump says he won't meet Putin again unless a deal is confirmed, and that he thought Russia-Ukraine peace deal would have been done already. There's a lot of hatred between the two, between Zelensky and Putin. There's tremendous hatred, he said. Connolly becomes the 10th president of Ireland with 45% turnout and over 200,000 voters spoiling their ballots, highest in Irish presidential election history. Everybody's just super stoked for the super leftists to be awesome. Louvre heist confirmed. Inside job. Detectives cite digital evidence linking security staffer to suspects. Investigators probing the October 19th theft of 88 million euros in French crown jewels from the Louvre Museum have declared it an inside operation. Digital forensics reveal communications between a security staffer and suspects. Per French authorities, over 150 physical clues, including DNA from discarded gear, bolster the case. Museum reopened last week, now faces a sweeping security audit amid national outcry. American right-wing pundit Steve Bannon has called for a three-state solution and creation of a Christian state of Jerusalem in the Holy Land. Former White House strategist Steve Bannon says we have to go to a three-state solution, and one of those states has to be the Christian state of Jerusalem. We need a Christian state in the Holy Land. A group of masked Islamists took to the streets of East London, UK, to the Whitechapel area populated by Muslims after a planned right-wing party demonstration was canceled there. The jihadists waved flags of Bangladesh and the Palestinian Liberation Organization, a terrorist organization, and their leader promised to stand firm in defending his community against those who came on a crusade against Islam. See how the chat's doing. Hi, chat. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for being on my severely shadow banned best intel on the web of YouTube channel here. Thank you for coming. Trump, Lula summit yields no trade or tariff breakthrough. U.S. President Donald Trump and Brazilian President Luiz Ignacio Lula da Silva held a brief bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the 47th ASEAN summit today, but failed to reach any agreement on trade or tariff reductions, according to White House and Brazilian officials. Argentina has headed to the polls in 1 hour. Polling stations will open. Legislative elections begin. More than 35 million of voters will cast their votes to renew seats in Congress and define the balance of power for the coming years. Pre-election polls suggest a potential lead for La Libertad Avanza, Libertarian Party, led by President Javier Milei, followed by Fuerza Patria, the main Peronist opposition. And they're just, I don't know if Milei is going to make it. We'll have an update. According to the state-run media, he's probably going to lose. Okay. Milei followed by Fuerza Patria, main Peronist opposition, Propuesta Republicana, a center-right party traditionally allied with business sectors, Unión Cívica Radical, a centrist and historic reformist party, Provincias Unidas, a moderate regional coalition gaining traction in several provinces such as Santa Fe. U.S. warships have now arrived in Trinidad and Tobago near Venezuela amid rising military tensions between the two countries. China has officially rewired its financial system to trade globally without the U.S. dollar, according to Financial Times. This is just like a stupid story. You don't even have to worry about this thing. Everything is fine, right? Go on over and watch cats like doing crazy things on the YouTubes. Don't listen to my really important, tell you the nuggets that are like really key and going to F this country up in about 2 to 5 years. Don't listen to this. Just sleep.
Yes, YouTube wants you to sleep. Do not listen to PrepperNow. His channel is small. No one wants to be there. No one wants to be there. He is not shadow banned because he gives good info. He is shadow banned because nobody wants to be there.
Given the chat that this is the largest trading partner of most countries in the world, a gradual rejection of the dollar is expecting in the coming years. You see what I got coming in another story. But again, don't come to this channel. Go to the other ones. They're doing great work over there, telling you 25 minutes worth of stuff and giving you about 5 to 6 pieces of news. Putin announced that Russia has successfully tested the Brezhnev nuclear-powered intercontinental cruise missile. The Brezhnev is armed with a nuclear warhead, unlimited range, and the ability to evade all missile defenses. And I'm sure all the other channels are talking about it. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says China is ready to make a trade deal which will remove President Trump's 100% tariff. This confirms reports that China is seeking the complete elimination of tariffs in exchange for lifting the ban on rare earths. So, migrant from Epping Hotel accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl is mistakenly released. Well, he's been recaptured. Thank you, God. So, yeah, hype the channel. It's going to totally work. Biggest demographic to be hit by the loss of SNAP benefits are young rural white Americans. Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, or OBBBA, cut $186 billion from SNAP benefits. USDA decided to not use its emergency funds to finance SNAP benefits, meaning that as soon as November 1st, 40 million Americans will lose their safety net. Hurricane Melissa forecast to become a rare Category 5 tonight. Seek shelter in Jamaica. Undergoing extreme rapid intensification. Cat 4, 140 miles per hour this Sunday morning. National Hurricane Center expects it to strengthen to a 5. Center of the hurricane is looking at 120 miles southeast of Kingston, Jamaica. It's about to float right over it. Thankfully and hopefully, it looks like the mapping says it's going to go out to sea. Torrential rains. Basically, Jamaica's going to get jacked up, and then from there, I think it's supposedly, from the things I've seen, it's going out to sea. Zoran Mamdani has told his supporters to prepare for the long fight ahead. That's right, baby. Go get your socialisms. He's going to take New York to the promised land. 2 men have been arrested after allegedly stealing $100 million worth of France's crown jewels in a daytime robbery at the Louvre Museum. Do these F-heads really think they're going to get away with it? Seriously. President Trump says we now know everything about the 2020 presidential election being rigged and stolen, calling on the DOJ to investigate it with gusto, describing it as the biggest scandal in American history. Because Lord knows when you're on the left, your party sucks so much. The only thing you can do is to, well, we'll see what comes of it. I'm not going to have any faith that anything will change. Senator Lindsey Graham says Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro will soon be removed from power. Gavin Newsom is going to consider a presidential run after midterms. I know who I'm voting for. Trump and Xi Jinping finalize a deal to transfer TikTok to new owners and will consummate the deal when they meet in Korea on Thursday. UK Reform Party MP Sarah Pochin forced to apologize after agreeing with a caller that white people, and particularly white men, are being demonized and discriminated against. In UK ads, it drives me mad when I see full adverts of people that are not white. What a terrible thing to say. Djibouti's parliament eliminates the constitutional age limit of 75 for presidential candidates, allowing Ismail Omar Guelleh to run for a 6th term in April 2026. Absolutely extraordinary paper by Iran. And here again, folks, don't you dare come on over to the crisis report on the YouTubes. You want to go over and watch people farting and stuff like that. You wouldn't want to know this kind of information. This information is the dumbs. This has nothing to do with anything. We're going to be totally fine. Don't listen. Put your earbuds in and go la 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 la. But don't you worry. The old YouTube is going to shadow ban the F out of this channel because God knows we don't want people knowing about this extremely critical information. Extraordinary paper by RAND, main think tank of the United States military industrial complex. So, just some dudes. Another key sign that the U.S. deep state, despite all the chaos and noise, is shifting away from deterring China toward accepting coexistence, or basically America being its bitch. These are the three most important recommendations. Number one, rejecting the false belief that a victory is possible in the China-U.S. rivalry and accepting the legitimacy of the Communist Party because they're such wonderful, good people. Right that the U.S. should clarify U.S. objectives in the rivalry with language that explicitly rejects absolute versions of victory and accepts the legitimacy of the Chinese Communist Party. Explain that it's necessary because victory is objectively impossible. The effective destruction of the other is not a feasible option. Rejecting it is imposed by hard realities, and because continuing to try would be catastrophic as it would threaten either side's survival. So basically, it's a parasitism. Who could have saw that coming from the Chinese? They write that each side must accept in ways that are deeply ingrained and broadly shared amongst decision-making officials that some degree of modus vivendi must necessarily be part of the relationship. They also write that each side must accept the essential political legitimacy of the other. And the big point right here and what matters to you, because it doesn't matter, because you shouldn't watch this channel. You should go over to ITEHIL.com and jack around with those people, watch people fart into microphones and stuff. Taiwan, they recommend not only reassuring China that it can achieve its reunification objective, but also using U.S. leverage against Taiwan to prevent provocations. This is probably the most surprising aspect of the paper. They recommend that the United States and China should exchange a mutual set of signals where the U.S. would make statements that it does not support Taiwan independence, seek a permanent separation across the straits, or oppose peaceful unification. They write that the U.S. should be creating the maximum incentive for Beijing to pursue gradual approaches to realizing its ultimate goal, reunification. Remarkably, they argue that the U.S. should balance its commitments in Taiwan or to Taiwan with leveraging its influence to ensure Taiwan's actions do not escalate tensions with China. The paper explicitly criticizes Taiwan's Lai Ching-te for statements asserting Taiwan is sovereign and says Washington should use its potential leverage over Taiwan to limit its activities that upset the status quo. Essentially, U.S. leverage to pressure Taiwan into not provoking China. When such a think tank as RAND, the preeminent one, makes recommendations that this deferential or deferring to a strategic competitor, it's not out of kindness of heart. They're anything but peaceniks. It's because they realize that the material balance of power has dramatically shifted. America is now second to China, and they will beat us in whatever endeavor they want to beat us in. Okay? It's not about Taiwan. Okay? The whole thing on Taiwan is the thing on Taiwan. This is effectively saying by our largest think tank that America cannot beat China, and at some point in the not so distant future, we're going to ish the bed and it's going to be over. And the American-centered world, the Pax Americana, will come on to the Chinese-led world. You know, the world of Big Brother, the world where wonderful platforms like this one can just pick and choose winners and losers because of their social credit score. It's an effective announcement of the death of your freedom. But again, don't come to this channel Go to other channels where the YouTube algorithm sends you so you can sit there and guffaw like a mouth breathing idiot. And by the way, the people that are listening to this, I'm not talking about you. Chief of the General Staff of the French Army, Pierre Schill, says that France is ready to deploy troops to Ukraine in 2026. French troops in Ukraine are meant to give security guarantees to Kiev. French contingent will likely not be higher than 7,000 troops. Troops in Ukraine. U.S. military personnel may stop receiving pay by November 15th if the government shutdown continues, according to Besant. Thailand and Cambodia have signed a ceasefire agreement in presence of President Trump. The leaders of Thailand and Cambodia have signed a ceasefire agreement in the presence of U.S. President Donald Trump. The accord was concluded roughly 3 months after 5 days of cross-border fighting between the two nations. During the clashes, President Trump called for an immediate halt to hostilities and suspended trade talks with both countries. At the signing ceremony, Thai Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul said, "If fully implemented, this agreement will serve as a foundation for lasting peace. We will begin disarmament and the release of prisoners of war without delay." Over the weekend, Israel permitted the entry of heavy excavation equipment from Egypt to help locate the bodies of slain hostages. Israeli source says that the Red Cross is currently cooperating with Hamas to locate abducted missing persons in areas under IDF control. 2 U.S. Navy aircrafts lost in South China Sea. The U.S. Navy aircraft from the carrier USS Nimitz went down in the South China Sea on Sunday in separate incidents only minutes apart. First crash involved an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter from the Battle Cat Squadron, which went into the water around 2:45 p.m. during what the Navy called routine operations. All 3 crew members were rescued alive. Less than an hour later, at 3:15, a 2-seat FA-18F Super Hornet from the Fighting Redcocks Squadron also went down, flying from the same carrier. Both pilots ejected and were rescued. So there's about $65 million down the drain. 91.54% of polling stations counting. Official results of Argentina. Keep in mind that all the official sites are saying that, oh my God, Javier Milei is going to lose. He's ruining the country. Oh, what's that? Yeah, he gained 64 plus seats, 40.84. His Fuerza Patria party, they're the second tier one. They're the Peronis. They got 31 seats. They got less than half. And then Provincias Unidas got 5 seats. 68% of the 35 million registered voters, showing a moderate level of participation compared to previous elections. Oh, what's that? The Argentine peso was appreciated by over 12% following the election on Sunday. Besant literally made money with the currency swap. Actually hilarious. Everybody's bitching about Besant doing the Argentine thing. He's actually made money from it. Argentine stocks have skyrocketed about 16% overnight trading on Wall Street. And Ukraine conducted nighttime drone attacks on Moscow region and capital. This was described by Russian officials as one of the largest drone attacks on the city in recent months. Total number of drones shot down by Russian air defenses that are en route to Moscow was almost 27, or more than 27. So, there it is. Thank you all for having an attention span. Thank you all for being intelligent and caring about what goes on and not just out there being like most people, just blissfully going along, whistling past the graveyard. There's some of the biggest, most critical nuggets of news I've ever reported in this report tonight. And 98.7% of the people out there have no clue about it. None. I come here every night and I tell you what's going on. You know, I haven't gotten everything right. If I screw up, I correct it like I did the other day. And I get frustrated because I see other channels that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they don't tell you 1/10 of what comes out of this report. And it's because of a social credit score here on YouTube. Mine is low. Why? Because I don't give up. And I'm going to tell you truth. So I applaud you. I thank you for coming here night after night and spending your time with me. I don't plan on helping or saving everyone, but I'm going to do everything I can to get out as good information as possible in the hopes that you will understand this and see this, like say, oh, I don't know, years ahead of America crapping the bed and becoming China's bitch, which you basically already are, so you can plan accordingly. Okay? All right, friends. God bless you all. We will see you on the next one. We're brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Look into physical things. Look into things to preserve your wealth. I don't know what that looks like, but yeah. So I will see you on the next one. I appreciate y'all. Links in the description, the other places where I'm at. Possibly go to Substack. Still holding on to 500. I was at like 509 subscribers. I've lost like 7. I guess their attention spans are not long enough to actually read and care about what the hell's going on, but whatever. Frustrated. I see channels that suck, that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and don't tell you anything and just blather on. The crisis report is here, so for 20 to 25 minutes, whatever it is, you know everything. I'm out.